Hey guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. On today's video, we're going to be building a desk. Yes, today is video one of a series that I'm super excited about. We are going to be building an actual giant desk for a CNC machine that I'm ridiculously excited about. I had purchased the FoxAlien CL-4x4, their flagship machine. This thing is a beast of a machine. Let me tell you, when I mean beast, I mean it's huge. It has a cutting space, a cutting area of 4 foot by 4 foot complete. It's actually 48.03 inches by 48.03 inches. The only thing I'm not so excited about is honestly the space that it's going to take up in my workshop. It's going to take up this whole corner of a workshop area. I had to do a little bit of rearranging. I moved some stuff over here. That desk used to be on this wall right here. And if you've seen in my previous videos underneath the TV, I had a long desk. This guy was actually over here. I'm leaving my HSF 800 because that's going to actually be used for the new CNC machine. I'm going to leave that over there. What I'm going to do is mount this controller box onto the wall here because this is actually going to stay here. This is the 8040, which I'll use for probably like a little bit smaller projects, but when I do giant projects like things that I can cut for signs and whatnot, that's what I'm going to build here. Again, this video that you're watching right now is part one. I'm going to actually be building the desk only, not the machine. This has nothing to do with the machine. The machine is on the way, so I have to prepare for that. The machine needs to sit on a desk roughly 66 by 66 inches, give or take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a desk that's a little bit bigger, about 3 inches bigger all the way around. That way I have enough space for that machine to actually sit on top of right here. I'm going to have the back desk on wheels, something similar to this. Let me show you right here. So this little desk that I made, or this little rolling cart, has wheels on the back, and you can see down there there's wheels right there and there's a wheel right there, and the front lays flat. That way I can pick the front up and move it. The reason why I'm going to do that on the new desk is because the new CNC actually can fit a full sheet of plywood all the way through it, but it would hang over a little bit. So when I'm doing, if I needed to do a full sheet, I can pull it away from the wall a little bit to make it fit, but I don't think I'm going to be doing that too often. So, but just in case I do, I need a way to move it. So I'm actually going to put wheels like this. Right here is what I bought. I got these wheels, and they're basically just shopping cart wheels. I'm going to do something like this and this right there on 2 of them. For the legs, I'm using 4x4s. So I'm going to have one right here and one right here because they're going to be, it needs to be a little bit sturdier, a little bit more weight added. So we're going to go ahead and do that. It's going to be a very easy thing to build, I think. It's basically going to be a square because I had Lowe's pre-cut this. It's like 34 and a half, so basically 69 inches all the way across, and then 70 inches this way. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to cut anything. It's totally fine. I'm going to build a square bench with the 4 legs and a frame around it. Very easy, nothing crazy. That way when I get the CNC machine built on the next video, I can just build it right on top, roll it into place, and we'll be good to go. But with that being said, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get all of these cut down to size that I need, and then we'll go ahead and start doing all the pocket holes, and we'll go ahead and start assembling. I'm going to cut a bunch of pieces to 61 inches, and the reason why I want to do 61-inch lengths, that is going to go in between the legs, which 3.5 and 3.5 is 7 inches. So I have 7 inches of legs, and then 61 inches of 2x4 in between will give me a total width of 68 inches, and that'll be 1 inch shy all the way around of the top, which I can just drop those on, screw them on down, and we'll be good to go. This is kind of what I'm building right there. Just a little square rolling cart that can accommodate the CL-4x4. Nothing crazy, just a bench that it will fit on, and I can roll around in the shop and move it a little bit as I need to. It's going to be very heavy, and it's going to take up a lot of space. But with that being said, let's not waste any more time. Let's go ahead and get all these pieces cut and go from there. All right, here we go. All right, now that I went ahead and I got my cuts made, I have my 12 pieces. I went down to 60 inches. I think I talked about that before. I'm not even sure. I believe I said 61, but I meant 60 inches. But we're gonna do 60 inches. I have 12 of those. That's 4 for each side, high and low, and then 2 supports going down the middle on the top and the bottom. Eventually, I'm gonna put a bottom deck on this. That way I can store some of my CNC machines and laser cutters on the bottom shelf. I think that'd be kind of cool, a nice little storage area. I'm not gonna do that right now. I'll add that later on. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use these little scrap pieces and I'm going to create 8 angled pieces. I'm going to cut them at 45s on the ends. That way I can put those in the corners and then that'll be like a little corner brace for the top and the bottom. So I need 8 of those. So let's go ahead and get those done. I think All right, guys, now that I went ahead and got these angle braces cut, these will go on the corner where the legs are, and they'll connect the 2 bottoms. Now that I went ahead and got all 8 of these cut, the only thing I got to do is cut the legs, and those are going to be cut down to 31 inches. So let me show you how I measure that and set that up on my miter saw. My miter saw, I have it set to a 0 radius. What I did was I moved these in, and then I used my saw blade to cut this, so I know that my saw cuts right along that edge of that red line. So the only thing I'm going to do is now use a tape measure, and I'm going to set this to 31 inches right here. So somewhere about here is 31 inches. Now this is not correct because these are set to my old table saw, my old miter saw. So these measurements are not correct. So what I'm going to do is take this block and then I'll move it over to the 31 mark right here. And then that way all 4 legs will be set exactly the same and cut exactly the same length each and every time. So let me go ahead and move this over and we'll get that done. All right, so I have a big chunk of this 4x4 left over. I'm just gonna save it for another project. I only needed 4 pieces, but I couldn't get it out of 1, so I had to buy 2. But I think I have an idea for this later on at a different project. I might make a coat rack or something like that. So if you're interested in that video, if you wanna see me make a coat rack out of this 4x4, I think we'll do it. With that being said, let's go ahead and get these pocket holes made because I have a lot of pocket holes to drill out, so that should be fun. Here we go. All right, guys, so I went ahead and got all my pocket holes pre-drilled, ready to go. This should be a pretty easy assembly. I think what I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna pre-drill my holes for my corner braces. That way I can go ahead and countersink and just kind of have my holes ready to go into the angle, because holding these brackets up and all that stuff. I don't want to fight it. So what I'm going to do is use this piece of wood, kind of hold them in place. That way I'm going to go ahead and put a hole at an angle on these, because that's basically how they're going to go into the wood. I want them to kind of go in like that. I'll start straight, bend the bit a little bit, and then kind of pre-drill that hole ready to go. I'll just go along the line and I'll do 2 per 2x4 on each side and get these pre-drilled, ready to go, because I think that's just going to be the easiest way to go. So, all right, let's go ahead and get them pre-drilled. And I think the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little countersink. That way when I set the screws, they won't split. So we'll kind of do that too. All right. There you go. You can see right there, by doing that, when I put the screw at an angle, it'll have somewhere for that screw head to sit nice and flush, and it won't kind of jam into that wood. It'll kind of seat really nicely into that piece right there. So, all right guys, now that we went ahead and got everything pre-drilled, ready to assemble, there is one more thing that I want to do before I start the assembly process. I want to go ahead and pre-drill the holes for the wheels, and the way that I'm going to do this is a little bit different. So very simply, we're just going to go ahead and set this wheel onto the 2 legs that it's going to be, something like that right there. I'm going to mark these, pre-drill the hole, ready to go, and then what I'm going to do is right about here, I'm going to cut off just about half the distance between the hole that I make and the base. That way that the leg basically won't rub on the ground or anything like that. So let's go ahead and get that done, and then that way we can go ahead and get these wheels assembled and get that on here and get that part done. So yeah, pretty excited. Let's go ahead and get these cut. Pretty simple process. Watch me how I do it. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this as the stopper for the wheel. That way I know that it's going to be basically at the very bottom of that. And then I'm going to go ahead and make a mark where I want the hole to be. All right guys, so it's been a couple days since I've been back in the shop. I got all my pieces of wood cut out. I have a couple scrap pieces which will basically just help me hold up some wood level off the ground. Got an 18-inch spacer right down here, and that is going to go in between the top and the bottom deck that I'll be building. So I'm ready to go. Got my drill, my pocket holes, got my rods that will go for the wheel legs, everything. I am set, ready to build. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start the assembly process on this, get this built. Shouldn't be too hard. Got all my pocket holes done. Wasn't feeling good for the last few days, so I put this on hold, but I'm back in it. So what we're going to do is get this started. I'm super excited to get this table built. That way on the next video, we'll go ahead and get the FoxAlien CL-4x4 built, ready to go. And yeah, so, but first I gotta have a place to put it. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get this thing put together and built. Here we go. right, guys, that is it. That is the build. I built this table probably within about maybe an hour. I got it done from start to finish, cutting all the 2x4s, cutting the top. I probably have about 2 hours total into this build, but it is exactly 70 inches across and 70 inches deep. Should be big enough to fit the footprint of the CL-4x4. I believe we needed like 66 inches and 64 inches or something along that line. I will put a link in the description to the FoxAlien CL-4x4 and some specs that you can check that out to see what you need. But I did, again, I went to Lowe's and I just had them rip down the tops for me. That way I didn't have to do that in the shop or anything like that. Now I did do the wheels on this and it works out perfect. I might actually add some handles to the front, some little real heavy duty handles. That way if I needed to pick it up, I probably won't do it by myself if I needed to roll this thing away because it will add a ton of weight. I didn't put a base deck on this right now just because I really didn't need it, but I think what I'll do is eventually I'll go get some more of this, or maybe something a little bit thinner and a little bit less expensive, because that's going to be a lot of good storage space. That way I can put some of these machines that I have down here or anything else that I might not be using. Eventually my goal is to take the Masuder Pro and get this gone, because I can't wait till they come out with the extension kit for the Masuder 3, which I like a lot better. I like that machine. It has a little bit more space. I like the fact that the controller box isn't mounted on this one, so you can put wood all the way through or media all the way through, where this one you're kind of limited. So eventually I'll probably get rid of this. I might even do a giveaway. I don't know. I might even do something with this machine. If you're interested in that, if you made it this far, which I hope you have, I think I might eventually do a giveaway. I'm going to partner up with FoxAlien, and I might just give that machine away and do something like that in the very near future. So stay tuned for that. That's not going to be, it's nothing planned. It's the first time you're hearing of it. Honestly, it's the first time I'm really thinking about it right now. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested in that, put a comment down below. Tell me if you think that that might be a pretty cool thing. Because once I get the extension kit for this, that will kind of convert everything and I won't need that anymore. This is going to be my monster machine here, and then I have my 8040 for small projects, something that I won't need this as big because I'm going to be doing some massive projects with the CL-4x4. But let me show you something. Let me show you how this works. I know I did everything in time lapse. Building a desk isn't anything crazy, but it was really easy to do. It's perfectly square, but let me just show you how this thing rolls and how easy it is. Let me show you that. All right, so eventually, like I said, underneath here, I'm gonna put a piece of wood for some more storage, maybe build some boxes or something like that. But the reason why I did this is the CL-4x4 will be able to accommodate a full sheet of plywood. Now it's going to be very tight in my workshop if I wanted to cut something like that, so I probably won't be doing it too often, but if I did, I needed a way that I can pull this away from the table. So watch what I did. I added wheels to the bottom of the back side of that so I can just lift this up, pull it back, and set it down. So right now it's perfectly level. It might be off a little bit because of the carpet that I have. It might have a little bit of a tilt, but I'm not too worried about that. If it was on a surface level ground, the legs to the front are with the wheels the same height that way. So let me show you. Basically, I can now pull this away from the wall very easily, just like that. So now if I needed to add a piece of wood that was a little bit deep, or do some tiling for a project, I can now move that sheet of plywood through, back and forth through the actual machine. Because right here, a full sheet will fit all the way through. Now, if I needed to get this thing out that door, I probably just wouldn't be able to do it. I'd probably have to disassemble. I might be able to turn it sideways and shimmy it out the door if I really needed to relocate this. I have no intentions of doing that. This is not going anywhere. I'm not going to be moving it. This is in my workshop. This is its permanent home location. So I'm super happy where it is. I might even paint this. I think what I'm going to do too is these legs. I think I'm going to paint these black. So when you see the next video, they might be painted. I don't know. We're doing a whole series on the CL-4x4. I have a bunch of stuff planned out. So if you're not subscribed to the channel, go down below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell button. That way you get notified of all of my newest videos because I have some really awesome stuff. I just want to thank all of my subscribers, creeping up on 20,000 subscribers, which I'm super excited about. So with that being said, I think what I'm gonna do is put this back where it goes and start building the new machine. So make sure you stay tuned for that because that is gonna be the next video that I put out. The CL-4x4, the largest flagship machine in the FoxAlien series, is getting built on this channel. Until that next video, make sure y'all do one thing, stay awesome. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.